Before you all get inspired or whatever, let me plug my own stuff real quick. This podcast is part of a weird little empire I'm building. Number one is the Growthish mentorship for folks who want to grow, but like human style. My book for gamers who are secretly elite humans. That book is called Gamers, the Unexpected Overachievers. And then the merch that makes corporate hoodies cry a little. So all the links are in the show notes below. And yes, this empire will absolutely be built on the dark side, just with better culture and funnier t-shirts. Let's get into the show. All right, welcome back to the Just Some BS podcast. So today we have Scott Walters on. Scott, thanks for coming on.
Hi, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I like to kick off with everybody's LinkedIn kind of bio. And you have Pennsylvania, Maryland, DMV, Philadelphia, Baltimore, portable toilets, roll-off dumpsters, septic service, and commercial industrial waste hauling, luxury restroom trailers.
We do it all, right? What don't we do that's dirty or smelly? We do anything that's dirty or smelly.
I love that. No, that is a lot. We're gonna deep dive into that. But before we do that, I was actually reading through your LinkedIn this morning. I was waiting around for someone, and I noticed that you taught ESL to students from many nations and diverse backgrounds. You practiced conversational English and introduced many aspects of American culture. And this was over in Tibet.
Tibet, yeah, I did that. I did that here in the States after I came back from Tibet. But yeah, I did that for a year in Tibet.
How was that?
It was pretty crazy, right? I got sick when I was undergraduate. The reason I got there was I got sick in my undergraduate and I wanted to go to law school. I didn't have time to get my LSATs, everything in order. So I had this gap year and I didn't know what I was going to do with it, Brandon. And so I was actually walking down the hallway. I had prayed and said, God, you got to show me where I'm supposed to go this year. I was walking down the hallway at college, kind of talking to a professor, saw this poster, Teaching English in China. And I just knew that's where I belonged. So I sent in my application and they said, well, we have this place for you. Not many people want to go there. Would you be okay with that? And I said, sure. I didn't know anything about Tibet. I actually got there. First of all, I was on the plane to go there and, watch one movie, watch two movies, watch three movies. And I was like, we have to be there soon. I stopped, the flight attendant and said, hey, how long until we're there? And she looked at me like I was stupid. She was like, sir, you haven't 12 hours yet. And I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, what? That's how little I knew, Brandon. So then I get there and carrying my bags. I'm young, right out of college, healthy. I'm carrying my bags up one flight of stairs to my apartment and I am gassed. I am so tired, out of breath, terrible. And I was like, what is wrong with me? And they were like, stupid. Have you ever heard of altitude sickness? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So that's how little I knew, Brandon. So, take it from there.
That had to be one, I guess, just full send right there, right? You're like, you know what? I need something to do. So are you a spontaneous person?
Somewhat. I mean, I think through things. Well, I'm a mix, right? I'm a mix, but I like to jump in and do stuff. I guess, especially when you're younger, right? When you're younger, you're ready.
Yeah.
So,
what was kind of the best, worst part of that whole experience?
I think just it was a rough place to be in the sense that there was a cultural aspect that was so different, and I was young and I was trying to navigate all of that. And so I would get homesick sometimes. Occasionally I would get homesick, especially when there were big holidays and everyone was spending time with their families. And they were great. I had great students who would include me, but you were still alone. And then you were away from your family, right? And in that time, the phone system was so terrible, like you couldn't get a hold of home no matter how badly you wanted to. And it wasn't like I was running there crying, mommy and daddy, I got to talk to you. But, you wanted a little contact and really you had none. And so that was probably the hardest part. But honestly, I can't say that anything was really difficult. I loved that year. It was wonderful, wonderful people, the whole experience. And I got a unique look at the culture because I taught professionals who were postdocs who were presenting papers internationally. And that's why they wanted me there to teach conversational English, look over their papers and help them brush them up. And so I was living in a normal work unit facility, not like a university. So I got to look at normal life. And then at night, they wanted to make extra money off me, my employers. So they just opened classes up to the whole community, whoever wanted to come. So I taught anyone from monks to tour guides to butchers, just anyone that wanted to come and get conversational English. So I got to look at all parts of the culture. Everyone would invite me to their homes. Everyone would take me everywhere. And I got to go. The one guy was a tour guide he was a monk and he was a tour guide at the Dalai Lama's palace. And so he would take me everywhere and tell me all the stories of both the summer and the Potala Palace. So it was really great. I wish you could have been along, and
Oh
we would have had a good
man.
time.
That had to, at such a young age, it had to open up your mind to what the world really had to offer,
Yeah.
because not everybody would have that ability or that diversity of like all types of cultures, all types of backgrounds in an area where you didn't even know what you're walking into, and just the ability to learn from everyone in that scenario. I'm sure you got so much back, even though you gave so much. Like at young age, that had to set you up for your current roles and what you're doing now to be like, everyone really has something that I can learn from. So like, I just need to open up my ears and maybe shut my mouth sometimes. That had to be incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And I was young, and most of the people I was around were quite older, 40s, 50s, and older. And thankfully, I did keep my mouth shut a lot, and I did just learn. And they were just so kind and humble
Mm.
and wonderful. I had kind of been set up for that because I had gone on a trip before that through Eastern Europe. When I was there, I'm old, Brandon. I was there when the Berlin Wall was coming down. I was
Okay.
there so I went through Romania just after they shot Ceausescu. I was at the Berlin Wall. I was in Red Square in Moscow when the day that Gorbachev was elected president. I was there
Wow.
at weird times, and so I had been around other cultures just a little bit, about a year and a half before this, and so I was prepared in some ways for this. But that whole cultural aspect, and then the intimacy of the relationships was, of course, much deeper. So yeah, it was a true gift that I'm so thankful for, and of course, it did impact my life very deeply, and it still does to this day.
Mm.
And I'm very thankful for all the people that put up with me.
Well, you look amazing. Wow. I would have not put you at that old. So crushing it, dude. You said you just got back from a workout, so you must be feeling pretty good right now.
I'm sweating. I'm still sweating too.
Let's go. All right. So I want to get into some of the other stuff we kicked off with. So your parents started Walter's Services with a homemade septic truck in 1973. How has the
Yeah.
company's mission evolved over the years, and what core values have you remained constant?
Well, so yeah, they did, and it's a great story. So I'm actually writing their book because it's
Amazing.
such a wonderful story that's so encouraging. Because my parents were 19 and 18, had to elope to Maryland to get married because her dad and didn't want them to get married.
The
And
rebels.
then yeah, but they were great, and so then they lived on this little chicken farm, and they had us, so we were all little kids, and they decided that they wanted to start a business because they were making $48 a week, not enough money to support a family. And so they started looking at all these different businesses that they wanted to could possibly start. And my dad somehow wandered into somebody that wanted to sell a septic service. And he went out to the guy, talked, great talk. He said, "Come back next week." My dad's name's Fabe. He said, "Come back next week, Fabe, and we'll do the paperwork and get this going." So my dad goes back the next Friday, and the guy says, "I sold it to somebody else."
Oh,
So this huge disappointment. Young people who were counting on this to help their family, right? So you can
yeah.
imagine the disappointment. He walks out and he's driving back home. It's not far, 5 miles or so. And on the ride, he decided, "Hey, you know what? I already have a truck. That's where the homemade truck comes in. I have a truck. We could put this together. I know enough about the business. I think I can do this." Gets home to my mom and says, "Bev, I can do this. I can start this business." And she said, "No." She said, "No, if you think you can do it, we can do it."
Oh,
Wonderful. Is that crushing it or what? My mom is amazing. So that's one of our core values, being team centered.
wow.
So our core values come from the founders of the business quite often, right? That's where they start. And sure, a business can evolve, especially if it's been around for a long time, and some things will change about it with different leaders and things like that. But the really great things about this business are our core values, and it's really what attracts people to our business to come work there. We were just talking about that at an executive meeting today. One of the ladies in sales, she's interviewing people right now, and she said the reason all these people are coming and looking for interviews is because they love our core values, they love the company that we are, and they can understand from the way they're worded and everything that this isn't just like a poster up on the wall, and they're kind of odd, half of them anyway, so they can't just be something that's just we're hoping this is the way it is. Sure, we're imperfect. Matter of fact, one of our core values it says, we're flawed human
Oh,
beings,
it's brilliant.
so we're not doing it perfectly, but this is the way we want to go. And so my parents really were the kind of people, our core focus, the foundation of our business is we love people. We're not a nonprofit, Brandon. We're, a for-profit business, but they always really valued the individual. That means to us that person is important, not just what you can get out of that person, not what they're going to produce for you, but because they are a person, they have innate value. And we want to try to help each other, encourage each other, and see good things come out of things for each other. Now, sometimes we work really long hours. Sometimes we really have to do crazy things and ask other people that are on our team to do crazy things. But everyone knows that it's coming from a place of, we care about you. And, this stinks right now, and I'm going to try to work alongside you, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But, you're going to have to do a difficult thing right now. So sometimes, you wrestle with that, quite honestly. We want to always be true to our core values. We want to always be true to the company that we want to be. Okay, so how do we do this really hard thing and ask people to do really hard things and still remain true to those things? So I don't know if that answered your question. I kind of just been something that's rumbling around in my brain for the last while, because we've just really worked hard lately at Walters.
No, that's brilliant. I got a couple questions off of that. People coming to your company and wanting to work do you market your core values? And if you do, how do you do that? Or is it through word of mouth for people who've worked there or are working there or do work there? That's my first question. So do you openly market towards that?
Little of both. I mean, so it is so important. First of all, people that work there talk word of mouth, and yes, people come through that. So, that's quite often. When we do market, Indeed, other services, we use them all. There are about 100 people on our team, and we're in, 4 states. So we're across a broader area. Like you said, all those places that we were, you have to go out and recruit people. We really want people that are going to fit on our team. And we know that who we are is so important. And people, if they don't fit that, won't be happy there. And they won't truly love being part of the team, nor will they fit. And so we really are just upfront about, hey, here's who we are. Does this resonate with you? And we, of course, interview along those lines too. Hey, can you give me an example of a time where you had to be honest in word and deed, and you knew it was going to suck, and you knew it was going to even be negative, but you went ahead and told the truth anyway. So, we want to know that those are the kind of people that are coming to us. So it just doesn't waste anybody's time that way.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. The reason I asked that question is I saw a huge change in the people who want to work with us as well, since we started really marketing, doing shorts with our people, asking them really silly questions in the shop or this podcast, and knowing what we do, what we like, what we're about, doing our behavior videos and putting those online. Like that stuff, when you don't think it matters a lot. Because I think one of the scariest things for new employees is, what does it feel like to work there? That question is terrifying.
Yeah.
And even knowing Scott, because that's going to trickle down, right? So I think it's very important for leaders to put yourself out there a bit, because that scary part of like, wow, I really feel like I know that person, and I really feel that we're on the same page with what life is supposed to be like, working, that goes a long way with people. And that first hurdle, I feel like the cost of entrance is way lower when they can get a feel for that.
Sounds like you're doing it way better than us, Brandon. I think what you're doing sounds great. We keep trying to get more information out there so people can get a glimpse of what it's like here. And I think you're exactly right. The more you can do, the more it will help attract the people that will fit, and also push the people away, because they've got a better place where they're going to fit. It's not ignorant. Like I always say to everybody, I'm not saying we're better than you.
No,
it's just not a fit. And so you're going to find a place where it is a great fit, and it's just not a waste of time. And it's really valuing everyone equally. It sounds great. We need to do better. So thanks for the idea. We'll do better.
Yeah, man. It can be really simple. Because people probably judge your world before they actually know what your world is like, right? Because I've been around tons of the things that you offer, being on construction sites, being in the William Scotsman trailers for 9 months. That was my home. And guess what? You put a painter's light in the John to keep it warm when it's cold out. Like, hey, I know all the tricks.
Yeah.
So like, but that kind of service, it gets overlooked, but it's so important in those scenarios. And I think people don't fully understand what that looks like. They just probably think it's gross, but it's really not. Like
Yeah.
the whole process is very contained and suitable and everything. And yes, like it is what it is. But at the same time, your technology and the pump trucks and everything that come with it is it's pretty high tech stuff, and it's awesome.
Thanks for saying that. And, it is true. It can be as messy as you want it to be. It can be terrible, right? If you
Like a homemade
want to
one.
get dirty, I can help you get dirty in ways that you can't imagine. But if you really just go about your day in a disciplined way, in a normal following processes, doing all these things, the
Yes.
likelihood is really low that you're going to get really dirty and messy. And most guys, I was just talking to a guy this afternoon out in the yard in front of our office, and he had just come back from a route. The guy didn't have a speck of dirt on him, and he was, just that's the way it is. And it doesn't have to be dirty and smelly. Like you said, it's really a normal job. And most people, after they do it for a week or two, are like, this is pretty easy. What's the big deal here?
Oh,
I
that,
like to hear that.
yeah. Is that a hurdle for hiring that you have to
Oh
get
yeah.
people over?
Oh yeah, it's a hurdle. And I think it's maybe not so much a lot of times. The people that actually come for interviews have kind of already crossed that hurdle and they're okay with it. But then they have to go back and tell their family members, their wife, their girlfriend, their friends, hey, I'm going to start working for a portable toilet garbage company, whatever it might be. And they get crap about it. So, I mean, I've already had some people not come and take a job then.
Pun intended.
Yeah, no pun, absolutely no pun intended at all. But it was great, right?
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, because let's be fair, the trades had that for quite a while. It's starting to make a turnaround, but the last 20 years, I would say,
Yeah.
probably parents, probably friends. It was more of a last resort, right? Like
Yeah.
our worlds are very similar in that. And now I've seen quite a change in that. The younger generation coming in is super pumped, super interested, listening, wanting to learn. And it's this is what I want to do for a living instead of this is the only thing I have to do for a living.
Right.
And that tiny mind shift has changed everything for all of these. I mean, we got a generation of leaders coming through. It's going to be incredible.
Aren't the young people incredible? I mean, I have two daughters. They're 24 and 26. And I actually just came back from a trip. I was in Turkey. My one daughter's U.S. Air Force. She's in Turkey.
Nice.
Um, you know, they are incredible. And their friends and the people that are around are incredible. And they're going to, like you said, they're going to do great things. They are great leaders, understand life in a way that I never did at their age. I mean, they would crush me if we were
So
the
much
same
faster.
age. Yeah. And just really so balanced in the way they view things and can speak so well. They impress me to death. I'm just like, hey, I'll move over. You take over. Really, honestly, you can do this better than me. I might be a lot older than you, but you can do this better than me.
Yeah. And the empathy for me, the empathy is just oozes out of them, of just all the things that either older generations, my generation, we get stuck on things. There's no stuck. It just doesn't matter. Like nothing, the things we get hung up on don't stay in their brain because they're moved on to other things, which means they have a larger capacity to do greater things because they're not hung up on things that don't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm very excited.
That's awesome. Isn't it? Stay on that soapbox. That's a good one. And you know what? I think they need to hear it because, right, society beats them down a lot and and they hear a lot how terrible they are. And so they need to hear a voice like yours saying, you know what? No, you really do have it together and you really are going to do great things because it's you can see it a lot of times. And when I talk to kids for me that age, right, they don't know it or it's easy for them to forget it or doubt it. And so, it's really great that you're saying that.
Yeah, and life and social media doesn't help, right? Because comparison's like the root of all evil when it comes to my life should look like, even if it just takes your friends or family members. Like that's the hard part to get people out of, to be like everybody's path is going to be. So the stat I love that I looked up online specifically for this comment is around there's only 4 people in the world, I believe it's 4, that are born at the exact same millisecond.
Oh wow.
So if you take that into consideration, there's only 3 other people in the world that are on the same timeline duration as you. Probably, but obviously probably not even the same county, region, state, whatever. Yeah. So completely different backgrounds, completely different arenas, completely different everything. Only the timeline is the same. 4.
That's amazing. I've never heard that before. That is crazy.
So you only have to really look at 3 other people, but you can't even look at them because they're probably nothing like you. So
No.
why are we all comparing ourselves to everyone?
Very, very true. Very true. And, but it is in this age, it's very difficult. But it's a great message that we all have to take in. And you know what? We can do it too, right? I can do it. I'm sure you do it.
Same.
We all
Yep.
do it. And so, we all need to hear that message. So thanks for saying that. That's a great stat. I've never heard that one before.
I had to look it up on, it was either AI or Google. I'm like, how many people are actually born at the exact same moment? And they're like 3.89 or something. And I was like, okay, 4, calm down.
We'll round that one up, please.
So our service is the difference. So this is a motto. Company motto emphasizes exceptional service. Can you share a time when this principle was put to the test or how your team rose to the occasion?
Oh, my goodness. Well, and again, this is through our history. So when we actually established these core values as core focus, our mantra, our service is the difference. We looked at the history of the company, the people that started the company, the leaders in the company, the people that are really fit our culture, that were there when we did all this work. It was about 8-10 years ago. And, it was stories. It was things that we actually did. So there are a number, Brandon, I don't know. I just right away, just the thoughts that come to my brain. But way back in the day, you probably know about this, but 3 Mile Island was ready to blow, right? This is back in 1979. Well, my dad and the company was providing septic service on the island when that was going on. So a lot of people here in central Pennsylvania fled the area because they didn't know what was going to happen. Well, it's probably a smart thing to do. My parents told us, we got a family meeting, and they said, listen, they need us there to take care of the people that are there working on 3 Mile Island. Somebody has to do this. And we told them we were going to do it. So we're going to stay here and we're going to commit to doing this. And so they did. And my dad would sit outside the gate there waiting for them whenever they needed him. When things were going on, he'd come home. He'd go right up to the reactor and measure the radioactivity of it. And he'd come home, and I know he was playing with us, but he'd read the radioactivity in front of our TV, and he'd say, look, it's higher here than it is there. We got nothing to worry about, kids. So, he was messing with us, but that was one. There was
That's
another
an incredible
one that I can
story.
think of where there was a customer who, what's that?
That's an incredible story.
Yeah.
Because that's like a disaster waiting to happen where he's running towards, and it was just because people needed him.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And of course we tell that story. We do a weekly core values video in the company where we send out a story about one of the core values each week. And that one will come up every few years, maybe 4 or 5 years. And it's one that actually, when you on board, you listen to different stories about our core values. That's one of them. But, it just shows the level of commitment. And this is the bar, right? That set it, Walter. That's a pretty high bar, right? And I always tell everybody, listen, we're not asking you to give your life here, but this is, we are committed to taking care of our customers. And, that's the kind of organization you're coming to, where we realize that, we're all here to take care of each other. But as an organization, we're here to take care of the needs of the people that, we're serving. And that's what you're signing into when you do that. I'm not going to ask you to risk your life, but we are going to do extreme things. Like there was another example where there was a customer who had a need up on top of a stadium. They had a bunch of events going on. It was an old stadium, and they needed bathrooms up on the top for the reporters, and they didn't know what to do. So all our crew got together and decided they were going to carry a portable toilet up a football stadium, a big one, and put a toilet up there. And then they would pump it. They would pull a hose up over the side, pump it out, and then they would carry it back down. And, that was kind of extreme. But I will say from them doing that, that customer has never left for a long, long time, and gives us an incredible amount of business. And that isn't even the reason we did it. It was just because someone had a need, and we decided we were going to find a way to take care of it that was outside the norm.
Above and beyond. That's incredible.
Yeah, that was above and beyond. Hey, no pun intended.
Got them all tonight.
Yeah, we keep hitting it.
Do you know sod metal recycling? Dan Sod?
I'm sorry?
Do you know Sod Metal Recycling in Columbia?
No.
Okay. The reason I say that is because I'm very good friends with Dan. I actually was just with him today, but he talks about customer service like you talk about customer service. So they do kind of the industrial metal pickup and then they recycle the metal
Oh,
and then process it and things like that. And it's interesting because, like, his 24-hour service turnaround is very important to him. And he talks about that consistently. And we brainstorm about those ideas and how to get it out there and how to make things faster. And it's just, yeah, it's I don't think I'm enough that way. I wish I was that way more, but I also got tainted in the construction world by being a
sure.
subcontractor and getting beaten up, like all over. So I have to really put my sales hat on sometimes to think outside my own box of trying to control things for the benefit of what I know as both sides, but then also come up with really innovative ways to help the customer. And that's what I'm going through that venture right now, because I have people who are saying, but how about we try this? Like, this is something different. This could be very helpful for the customer. Let's go for it. And I love that. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm
Yeah.
going to get out of my own head and then let's process through that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
brilliant.
But it's good to have that balance too. So I'm on the team, and I love those kind of crazy things. I'll try anything. And then there are other people saying, "Whoa, wait a minute," So that's really great to have that balance, and then you come together and have a conversation. But the expectation is that we're going to try our best to meet the needs of that customer,
Yeah.
and that's ground zero for us. Everybody understands that, so that's a great place to start from. And I'm
Are
sure you're
you?
the same way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you and all of your siblings entrepreneurs or have the spark?
No, I don't think so. I
Okay.
mean, so yes, my parents did, and I certainly do, and my brother does as well. So, my brother actually got out of college. He wanted to be part of this business. I didn't. My sister didn't. She became a school teacher. I went to law school and seminary and didn't have anything to do with the business. My brother got out of college and came here, and he always wanted to be part of the business. So he bought the original Septic part of the business a long time ago. And so he runs a septic business here in central Pennsylvania, across a good part of Pennsylvania. My sister, I would say, is not. She was a school teacher. She was a mom, and she's pretty, like, it has to work out and has to be secure,
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
thing. But she works with me. She and her husband have worked with me in the toilet business. They were actually there before me when I came to the business. They were already there, and she doesn't. She likes it to be pretty secure, but she's great, and she's a great part of our team. She actually leads our sales team, and she's
Amazing.
wonderful.
Yeah, the reason I asked that is because I talk to a lot of founders, entrepreneurs on this, and a lot of the time I hear it, it's their families are that way. Like, it's generational that entrepreneurs almost produce entrepreneurs, and that's how it keeps this giant ball of risk moving down the hill. You know what I mean? Which is
Yeah.
crazy to me because I'm so adverse to that, but I love hearing the, like, yeah, I'm going to Tibet, like, whatever. Like, I'll figure it out when I get there. Like, that's insane to me.
Yeah, that is pretty insane.
Yeah.
I am seeing that, beginning to see that in my daughters.
Awesome.
So, I would say that it is somewhat that way. And I think you're right. I think that, because you're around that, right? It is
Sure.
somewhat genetic, but it is also, just the environment that you're in, and you see people doing it, and you see that, they're willing to risk things, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but they're okay with that. And I think that definitely bleeds into your life, and you become part of that. I just heard my daughter talking, the younger one talking the other day. We were on a call. She's on a boat in Hawaii right now.
Nice.
She runs ships all over the world. She's probably more than me. She runs ships. She's like an officer on ships all over the world. And so
Wow.
she's in Hawaii right now. And she was telling me a conversation she had, I mean, the words she was using about how to lead and how to help people and how to, get the crew to do. I was like, this girl is amazing. She's amazing.
That's
So
amazing. That's,
yeah.
I mean, the hardest thing. If you can learn that, you can pretty much do anything in the world because it is the hardest part.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
that's
so. And
awesome.
they're getting it. So what about you? Do you have kids? I mean, this is
I
a
have a
conversation, right?
stepdaughter.
Can I ask that question?
Yeah, no, you can. I have a stepdaughter. She's 25, going to be 26 this year. So I'm
Ooh,
right in the same vein as you. It's like,
yeah.
pretty much adults running by themselves, super proud, super. She actually works with me at the shop. She puts all of
Oh,
our videos together. So when I'm running around the shop like an idiot asking a bunch of questions, she's behind the scenes doing all the magic, putting everything together. And
that's
yeah,
awesome.
so she does a lot of the uploads for this podcast as well, and helps me out with a lot of the social stuff just to get our name out there more. And my only rule for her is make it scroll stopping. That's the only thing I want in marketing for us. So that's what she does.
That's a good rule. That's a good rule.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Whatever you do to stop people from scrolling, that's what we want. So, all right, quick timeout from the BS to talk about someone who actually helped me sort mine out. BS. I don't know if I can sort all of that out since it's part of my name. If your business is facing a real change and clarity feels like trying to read a map in the dark, you need to speak to my friend Scott Hackman and his team at SHV Partners. Scott doesn't just consult, he shows up, he asks bold questions, and somehow makes your whole team feel 2 inches taller just by being in the room. Scott's a pretty tall person, just a heads up. There's no buzzwords, no fluffy strategy decks, just real conversation, uncomfortable truths, and progress that actually sticks. So some consultants come in, it's all about proving your worth, circle backs, buzzwords, a lot of fluff, no real action. That's not what Scott does, and that's not what Scott's team does, which is amazing. So I've worked with him. He's the real deal. So hit up shvpartners.com or find Scott Hackman on LinkedIn. The links are also in the show notes below. But once again, what do I know? I'm just a gamer.
That's awesome.
Innovation. So this I find very interesting in companies like yours that have such tradition, such deep-rooted tradition. How do you hold on to the tradition and the values of old while constantly reinventing yourself for the future and adding these pieces that you may need to be sustainable?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I think probably the most important part in that is, I think, to have that definition of who we are, that understanding of who we are. I always talk about it as, hey, this business has a personality, or it has character traits, just like a person would. And so the business is going to be true to that. But I think the key to that is collaboration and teamwork. So I am not a super smart person on my own. When I get a team of people around me and give them the freedom to do the things that they're good at and have real input on how things should be done and what should change and what's an opportunity or what's, something that we need to, be cautious about. When you do that, then I think you can get that innovation and still be true to that core of who you are. One, those people came to the team because they like that core. They are that kind of person. So they're going to be true to that. And that's really vitally important to them. And you should hear the people around the business. They talk about it as much as I do. They're very interesting. Like, this is a core value, or this is who we are. That's not who we are. That person won't fit. Somebody comes in and they're just not a fit. And I can see it. And they're like, Scott, that person's just not a fit. They're not a bad person, but they're just not a fit. So that's important to them. But then you get a bunch of people talking about these different things and seeing different things that could be better or need to be changed or an opportunity. And wow, all of a sudden you start doing great things, Brandon. And it's just so much beyond me. I don't even, honestly, it is all about the team. I don't even understand people that want to do it all themselves, because really not very great things can happen unless you're just that exceptional person. But even then, you're not going to do anywhere near the things that you could do when you're just allowing a team to influence the way that organization goes. I love that. I think that is just so much fun. I just enjoy it.
You must be a master facilitator. I feel like the way you talk, we have a lot of similarities there. I feel the exact same way. I am not a super smart person, but I somehow have a knack for making people super collaborative. And when you can, like you said, when other people are just so invested in efficiency, problem solving, innovation, knowing that throwing something at the wall is never a stupid idea because a bunch of people bat it around and will turn into something awesome. Like, people pay a lot of money, Scott, to have that, and you have it figured out, and it's not getting in the way. You're not getting in the way of it.
Oh, I got to say, I don't want to get in the way. I really want to step out of the way and let people do what they can do. And that's so much fun. That's more fun to me anyway.
It's so fun.
Yeah. You understand it. and it isn't something that I always understood. When so the business was about 50 or 60 people. And I just got to the point where I understood I was a bottleneck and I was really
Ooh,
not allowing things
come
to
on.
grow like it would. It was awful feeling for me because everybody needed to know my thoughts on it and what were we going to do. And I just realized this is no good. So we brought in a consultant. I think they charged us like a couple $100,000 and didn't do anything. Really on nothing, honestly, Brandon. The one thing that happened there that was so great and probably was worth the money was took me out of the office and put me in my own office far away from everybody. So I couldn't answer any phones. I couldn't tell people what to do. I couldn't do anything. And it was a crisis moment for me. I sat in that office and I remember asking him, I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? And she gave me a book on how to delegate and left. And I was like, okay, that's great. I honestly, I prayed. I said, God, I cannot lead this organization. You have to help me know how to do this. And a couple of days later, I went to an event by Central Penn Business Journal. And John Dame, I don't know if you know John, but
Yep,
he's a
I do.
great coach. And John was speaking there. And I said to myself, I know I need to go talk to this guy because I think he can help me. I think he knows what I need to do. And I was scared to death because I had to admit that I didn't know what I was doing. And that's pretty hard on a person's ego. But I was at that point, I was so desperate. I would have done anything that wasn't illegal or immoral to make to get it right. Really, I was very desperate. And I'm still that way. I'm very
Sure.
desperate to be the best version of myself for that organization. And so I went and talked to John, and that man is so wonderful. He was so patient and kind with me, and he helped me so much to learn how to be a leader that is collaborative and is open to allowing other people to lead in the organization. And it's no knock on me if I don't know the answers. These people are wonderful. So it isn't just that I'm this wonderful person. It was that I suffered a lot and I had a great mentor to really help, and other mentors. There are a lot of other ones along the way, but John was probably the key one who really helped guide me to become a way better leader than I was or I would have ever been.
So a couple questions with that, because I've heard this and seen this. I'm in Vistage, and I've even seen this in some of the people in my group. I call it founder syndrome. So I had this lucky superpower, Scott, that I can't do almost anything that we do on a daily basis.
That is good. Yeah.
It's good because I never am in. I'm only on all the time. Right.
Yeah.
So it allows me this space to go, well, why do we do that? Because I actually have no idea why we do that, because it seems really dumb from an outsider. And then someone explains to me and I go, that still doesn't add up. Right. So then it allows me to be like completely different glasses of everything.
That's great.
Which is super helpful, but you also have to not be afraid to step into that pretty hard. Like the joke around the office is I can't read a tape measure. And that is 100% true. I use ChatGPT to help me measure anything. But I have people who say, on the side, like I'll pull you over. We can do some things with the tape measure. And I'm like, that's so wonderful. Thank you so much. But okay. But my reason to that is it's interesting because you were not the founder. You still struggled through that. Do you think it was family pressure, failure pressure, personal pressure, or like not letting the family down type thing? You think maybe all of that?
It probably was pieces of all of that. Now, I wasn't the founder, but I came into this business. So there were only like 200 or 300 unit toilets in this business when I came in. My dad actually called me. I was at seminary ready to finish very soon. I think I had 2 classes to go. And he said, hey, this business is starting to grow pretty fast. Could you come just for a couple of years and help us get it off the ground and then leave? And I said, sure, of course. I mean, I love my dad. He's the best man in the world.
Yeah.
I'll do anything for him. So I came, and I think that this was my baby. So he really stepped away. I mean, honestly, he just stepped away and just left me. I don't know why he did that, because I didn't know anything about business.
He had John Dame.
What's that?
He had John Dame before you.
Maybe. Yeah, that's probably it. John was probably just waiting for me to come back. Revenue stream. He knew it was coming. No, I think it was always my baby, and it was very similar to being a founder, I think. But yeah, I did not want to ever. So my parents did own it. I was running it for them for a long time. And I did always feel that pressure of, hey, I've got to make this thing successful because I don't want this to negatively impact them in any way financially. So there was that component too. And I just want to do things well. I want to be the best I can in life. And so there's that pressure.
How long did that transition of getting out take for you?
I think it took a couple years.
Mm.
And that's the way I talk to new leaders about things like this is, this is a progression, this is a journey. And I always tell them, I think it's going to take a couple years until you start to morph into this other mindset where you can really adopt it. And that's probably most of the time. It's never all the time, right? But it's most of the time. And I would say it took me a couple years of, just working at it and learning and suffering. Honestly, I think pain's just a great teacher, right? and
So true.
you can tell the people that have suffered, and you can tell the people that have just learned in books
Ooh,
or
what do you mean
something
by
like
that?
So, well, if you suffered, that's a life change. Like that's
Yeah.
deep. That's deep. If you learn something, you don't maybe truly adopt it as your own completely
Mm.
because you haven't had to live it out in really adverse situations.
It hasn't
So
taken anything from you.
no, right. And when it does, when you really, like I said, I was willing to do anything not illegal or not immoral. I truly mean that. That's how bad it was. I knew it was bad and I needed to do something. So that angst, that pain inside of me was real. And so it's a real change for me. That was a real life change moment.
What did you see from your team as that transition was happening with you?
It was difficult because they were so used to me giving all the answers, doing everything, coming to Scott for everything. And so I had to be a little patient with them and just say, hey, okay, so, ask lots of questions
Yeah.
and then, start to say, hey, you've got it. You did a great job on all this. You don't need to call next time, but they would call next time. And then, so I had to be, and then sometimes to be a little firm and just say, hey, listen, don't call me anymore. You got it. And I trust you. And so we even talk about it a lot at Walters is I want you to go make mistakes today. I
Yeah.
mean, I say that a lot. Let's go make some great mistakes today.
That's
Because
such a good line.
yeah, because what's going to happen if we don't make any mistakes, we're not doing anything new,
Scary.
anything.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. So nothing really great is going to happen. Sure, we might keep this ship going steadily forward, but sooner or later, that's going to stop. So let's go make some mistakes today. It's great. What are we going to learn? What are we going to go forward with? I've made a ton of mistakes. So that's all I can say is maybe it makes me feel better when I say that just because I've made so many mistakes.
That's so good. Yeah, I can imagine the empowerment process was very unnatural for them. Like you were literally giving power away to say, please don't involve me. But because I have that same thing with Molly, my HR person who's been there for, oh my gosh, probably 18 or 19 years now. And she'll bring things to me. And before she even says anything, she goes, I know you're going to say, I don't care, but I feel
awesome.
that the process I have to tell you. And then she tells me and I go, okay, I don't care. And she walks away. But it's getting that old repetition out of your system. Because you're exactly right.
She knows that she knows you trust her and she
Correct.
knows that you have empowered her. So that's really great too,
Yes. And then when she comes and she'll come and tell me she made a mistake. And I said, I don't care. Is it fixable? Yes. Did you already fix it? Yes. And thank you for coming and telling me, but we're golden. So, and a couple of those and other people seeing those in meetings, right? Where there's no yelling and it's just like, okay, well, what can we do next time? How can we better this? And then how can we educate everyone else so it doesn't happen to anyone else?
Right.
And not making a rule for the 1% to protect the 99 all the time. We had lots of those too. One of my favorite phrases, Scott, is, can we just be adults? Like when we're talking about anything that seems silly, for instance, this isn't silly, but I'll give you an example. Wearing your seatbelt on a forklift, it's a must. It's an OSHA must. It's a safety must. It's a must. And we have safety roundtables. We have them usually weekly, but my schedule's been horrible lately. So in those, we have hot takes. And what I call those is anytime someone says, this is very annoying to me, some people are driving the forklifts like assholes and they're not wearing their seatbelt. And I say, okay, how do we solve this? And they say, so they come up with all these ideas like it won't start until you put the seatbelt in. Well, high fluorescent seatbelts, blah, blah, blah. And I said, we could go spend money on all of that. Absolutely. Right. Because this is a problem that needs to get solved. Or you could be an adult and everyone else in here. And if you see someone not being adult, you say, whoa, homie, be an adult and put your seatbelt on. And guess what? That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to not be called an adult.
No, you're right. We make all these rules and everything. Yeah, perfect. And just to treat each other like adults is wonderful.
Yeah, and everybody has the power to tell somebody else, no, that's not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you've been here for a week. I don't care if you've been here for 18 years. Sometimes the 18-year person has a shitty day and they're just not thinking correctly.
Yeah.
And you got to give people that space. I mean, do it without being a jerk, but it's just hard sometimes.
No, yeah, but I love it because those people will stop me. I remember, so in our yard, there's a space that you're supposed to walk in and, wear the vest and all that stuff for safety. And I got in a hurry, maybe this was like 5 or 7 years ago. I got in a hurry and was cutting across the yard and somebody stopped me and was like, hey, Scott, over there in the.
Beautiful.
I thought that was so wonderful because they corrected me. It was great. And I'm like anybody else. I work there just like everybody, and I love that.
But that proves that you are like everyone else. A lot of people say that, and that doesn't happen. I almost got 3 days off because I almost had too many safety points for walking through overhead doors. So I came from the power industry, and the power industry, you can walk through overhead doors. It's not a safety infraction.
Yeah.
In our facility, it is, unless you're carrying something or you're going through with a forklift or whatever. If you're just walking through, it's not a manway. You got to walk through the manway door instead of the overhead door. And I kept forgetting. I did it 3 times. Every time I did it, I either got called out by somebody or I went right back to Dave and wrote myself up because I was like, I'm an asshole. This is what happened.
Yeah. That's awesome. No. So, we all work here, right? We work here.
Yes. So perfect. I love that. So tell me about the Fabe and Beverly Walters scholarship funds and the Bethesda mission.
Yeah, no, we do a lot. We've gotten to do some really fun things. So we use TFEC up in Harrisburg, the Foundation for Enhancing Communities. And they're a great organization. If anybody wants to start a nonprofit to do anything good, I really recommend using them. So we wanted, of course, to help team members there at Walters. We love people, right? And so children or team members that want to go get more education, whatever that might be, whether it be college or trade school or whatever, we every year they apply through TFEC and then they vet them. And they give out scholarships each year to people going to college, trade school, different things like that. So I need to get the number because now it's starting to get considerable of the number of folks that we've helped go through college and
it's awesome.
And all those different things. So that's really great. We also have again through TFEC, we have a hardship fund. And that's for people that are on our team who experience an unexpected hardship, whatever it might be, health circumstance, maybe something happened, natural disaster, something with their family. And so then they can apply again through TFEC for money to help them through that difficult situation. I think that's really important. And what I really think is important about that is it's easy to say we love people, but if you're not going to put your money where your mouth is, then it's all words. And so I think it's really important that people see that we're willing to put money to that and say, okay, and it's, we've given a lot of money away and we have goals to give a lot away. And so then Bethesda plays a really important part in that. Everywhere we go, our goal is to support a homeless shelter. So down in Lancaster, Water Street, over in New York, we help out there. So we actually tomorrow some of us are going to be down at Water Street doing some work in Lancaster. Bethesda is a great place. We were just out there serving meals just a little bit ago, and we've painted rooms. We've done all kinds of different things at different shelters across the area that we serve, and I think it's a great way for the team to coalesce around a situation and help people that are less fortunate than us because, we've all been down on our luck sometimes and we all need someone else to give us a helping hand. And this is our opportunity to do that for folks. It's really important. People really like it there at Walters and take it real seriously that we do that.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's really amazing. There's a
The
lot of
people that
people.
work there are the amazing ones, Brandon.
Mm,
For me, I have loved because we'll do tours with our team. When new people come, we do tours, and we're going to do another one here in a little bit. And a lot of times we'll take them through Bethesda because it's a really nice place and it's real organized. And when they go through and the staff explains what they do and some of the stories of the people that have come through those places, I'm not going to lie to you, I have cried already
mm,
when I've walked through the different locations there at Bethesda, the women's shelter. When you hear some of the stories of the people that have suffered, and what Bethesda has done for them, and then they have the community center, and they always say, "We're doing this so that people don't end up in the homeless shelter someday." So this is our hope and our investment in the future, so that they don't end up here. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place, and the people that work there are amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. Yeah, if you never gone through, go and the men's shelter, Bill Christian, you let that guy talk to you as you walk through, and your life will change. He's amazing. He's really fun too.
sounds awesome. Yeah, great shout. Well, great work. Um, with your role as president, this isn't all my questions, but it just came to me. How would you describe your leadership style?
Oh wow, um, it is very collaborative. Um, my desire is to see each person reach their potential. So I want to offer opportunity for people, and I want to help them see what they can do, and to help our team, our leadership team, help people see what they can do. So I think your word of facilitating is very appropriate. Um, I'm a very positive person who encourages, and um, yeah, I don't have it defined. I have lots of definitions for lots of things, but I don't have
Yeah.
a definition. I was actually thinking about that as I was working out here. I don't even know why that came to my mind, but when I was working out before this, I thought, how would I define my leadership style? And I was thinking about it, and I couldn't put all the words to it that I would like to be able to, Brandon. I hope that painted a little bit of a picture for you, though.
No, it does. Let me ask you a little bit different way. Do you know what your personal core values are? Obviously, you have them very defined for the company, but do you know your personal ones?
Yeah, I do. Mine are that I will impact this world in very significant ways for God. That is the
Mm,
most vital thing to me. And so uh, that means for me that I will become the best version of myself, that I will love, especially my family members. So my daughters, my family, my friends. It's kind of a progression, right? Out from there, the
yeah.
people that I work with, that I will love them well, and that they will know that I love them well. Uh, uh, with time, with money, those are really the most important things to me. But my really core focus is that I would um, have a maximum impact on this world for God, and that for me that means for good, because I
Yeah.
think God's good.
Yeah. You're the stone dropping in the pond, and the ripples is everybody you come in contact with.
Yeah, and that doesn't have to mean that I'm Mahatma Gandhi
No.
out, becoming world famous and doing these things. I'm willing to have a single conversation with someone, and 10 years later they say, when we talked about that, I was in a bad place, and it helped me out a little bit, and it got me to a little bit better place. And I'm willing to, hey, the more money that I get in my life, I want to give more and more of that away so that people can do great things. My daughters, I have a son-in-law, and myself. The four of us started our own small little foundation so that we can give money away. And we actually just got to give our first money away out of there just a little bit ago. And they were so excited about it; they can't wait to give more money away.
It's
And so for
awesome.
me, that's really great, right? It's our opportunity to impact this world, and in our small way. And I think that that's really great.
That's
Um,
beautiful. That is
yeah.
absolutely beautiful. So you serve areas across PA, Maryland, DC, Virginia. Obviously, requires quite a bit of adaptability. What strategies have you employed to manage kind of the growth and meet the diversity of those client needs with your expanding? Have you had
Yeah.
anything that you're like, wow, that was a game changer for us?
Well, for me, I mean, it's all about the leadership
Ooh.
and the leadership in those. So we have 5 different territory leaders, and the success of those territories is directly correlates to the leadership in those territories. And so we really put an emphasis on helping those folks grow, helping them understand how to become better leaders, and giving them the tools that they need to grow as business people and understand how to read all the different financial statements. That's and there's sometimes there are people that come and go too there. So then you have to start over. And, so there's a lot of education there. There's a lot of coming alongside of people and helping them. And that's the one reason why we did it. I felt like we were getting pretty good at doing this in the central Pennsylvania area. So then we wanted to get a different location so that would add some complexity to it, and it would push our team to have to grow and understand how to lead from distance and how to provide services well at another place, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. We kept getting further and further away, and I love that because it really pushes us to try to learn and grow. And honestly, I don't think that we have it down yet. I mean,
Do
we're
you
still
ever?
really, really learning.
I mean, continuous improvement is the shitty part about it is you never reach the goal.
Yeah. But it's the great part too. I love a
It is.
problem. I'm a weird person who loves a problem, and just the fact that it's never going to be great is good. And you understand it because you were laughing right away when you said it. You were laughing, and that's great. I mean, I would get bored, and then I would do something stupid. I would. I mean, it's just I would. And so it's good that there's always something to work on.
So it's very interesting when you say what you just said about duplication. I saw it as we defined our blueprint or baseline for Pennsylvania. We wanted to test if it was as good as we think it is. So then we went to another place and we went to another place. And so what that's telling me is if you feel like you're really strong at what you're doing and you have good process, SOPs, KPIs, and everything seems to be sound, go stretch it and
Yep.
see what happens. And that's how you could really, really expand and grow quickly if you define that blueprint.
That's really true. I would love to say that that's totally true of the way I did it, but it's not. So if I'm going to be totally honest with you, we were really, really good at what we were doing, but
Yeah.
we didn't have it so defined.
Gotcha.
We didn't have all the KPIs. We didn't have all the SOPs because I was still learning about all that even when we started doing all this. But I knew we were really good, and I just wanted to challenge everyone, and I wanted to challenge myself. So honestly, we are doing. We have KPIs. We have really good processes now. We are following. So we have all the tools. We need to just keep doing better at following those things. We just need to keep doing
Sure.
better.
That's all of us.
Yeah, so I mean, we've learned a lot because I wouldn't have even known that was really important. I would have just said, hey, listen, we can do that again there. No big deal. And of course, now like all the things you're saying are like, whoa, yeah, they're essential. We got to do that. We got to do that in spades, and we keep bringing on good team members. We just brought on a great person recently who is just really great. I loved when I was interviewing this guy because he said, the 2 most important things to me, Scott, are people and process. And I said, I love you. You are awesome.
Winner.
Yeah. I need this guy.
Well, so, okay. Now I love that you were honest there. Thank you so much for that. That then takes me back to my philosophy of you did get into the KPIs and SOPs because it was probably mandatory when you get to a certain size and you're trying to manage multiple things. When you can't physically touch people, you can only hold them accountable through numbers, and you have to figure that out. So I'm assuming that growth pattern was probably to one of your core values of finding and filling people's potential. I want to give them opportunities to grow, so I have to go figure that out.
Right. And it's just, it's not going to be good for them if we're just throwing it out there and seeing what happens. So we want to give them a structure. We want to give them the KPIs. We want to give them the processes so they can go do it really well. And their life is good, because if not, it's just going to frustrate the crap out of people.
Yes.
It's going to be awful.
It is awful.
And I don't want it to be awful.
No, and I think the awful in that scenario is subjectivity, right? If we can't define what good looks like, we're going to make it up ourselves, and it's usually
Right.
going to be because we're upset with someone else, right? And
Yeah.
like I say this to a lot of people in the sense of like culture or KPIs and why they're so important to me, because I think subjectivity in leadership is a very, very dangerous game. Because I will get in my own head sometimes with people, and I'll go, I feel like they're not in the boat anymore because maybe I'm bringing something from home that I can't even see. So what do? I go to the numbers, I check my gut, and it either says, slow down, cowboy, or it says, there's something there that doesn't seem to be right. Right. But I have to, if I don't have that check, I go right into that conversation and start balking things that aren't even true because maybe I'm not the best version of myself today. That's very scary. And that's a hard bridge to build again if you burn that one.
Yeah. And you know what you said is very, very true, Brandon. We all get in our heads. We all have those bad days, those good days, whatever they might be. And we do have to have that checkpoint to bring us back to reality. I love that. That was really well said. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's a responsibility that when you take on a leadership role, you have like if there's an argument between yourself as a leader and one of your team members, it's always your fault. You have to be on or have the checks to slow yourself down or speed yourself up. And that will never be the team member's fault. And I
Right.
think we get that wrong a lot as leaders because it's like, well, how am I supposed to manage all these personalities? It's your job, but you don't have to. You have to know when you need to get involved and when you don't. And I think people miss that check. And though it's really hard, it's the hardest thing I think, and it's one of the hardest things in the world is dealing with somebody you were good with yesterday. They had something at home happen last night. They come in the works next day. They're mad at you. They're not actually mad at you, but you don't know that.
Right. Right. It's just the words are coming out, so you're figuring they're mad at you.
And you're going,
Yeah.
I thought everything was kosher yesterday, right? And you
Yeah.
have to like be able to go, okay, something's going on. Let me dig into that instead of taking it personal, and then getting into your own head. But that it's really hard.
But isn't that I love that you're talking about that because for me that's a really great part about leadership because we get to be around all these different people and we get to influence all these different people and we get to help all these different people. And you know what? We blow it sometimes. And
Yes.
I love to, I apologize. Hey, I'm sorry. I really, really messed up there. And, I want to make that right for you because we're not perfect either. And I like that people can see that we're human too. And, we're all journeying together. The whole I don't understand why everyone doesn't want to be a leader and everyone doesn't want to be in business, honestly, because for me, it's all fascinating. And every day is just, I love to get out of bed and go at it. I hope I never lose that desire because it's just so much fun to just experience all those things every day.
You have a very, very healthy relationship with relationships, I think.
I
Not
love
everybody
it.
does.
Yeah, I love being around people and I love diverse people. I love all the different kinds and all
I
that
do
different.
too, but it exhausts me. Like I'll come home and nap because I do this because I don't like going to social functions. So like
Well, I can understand. I just come home and work out hard. If you, my key, and I don't like to go to a gym because I do like to go home and be alone.
yeah,
I
same.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's a walk, whether for me it's gaming or working on something that's a hobby of mine, like
Sure.
it's almost that introvertedness because I have to be so external all day long. You
Yeah.
have to be positive. You have to, and I'm normally a positive person, but some days it's just like I want to close my door and put my headphones on.
Yeah. We all have those days. Yeah, it's true. And I think I'm a pretty extroverted person. I'm pretty much out there, but I think you're right. You give so much energy all day long that it's only a healthy thing I think to pull back, recharge. What's going to be your recharge? And I think we all
That's
figure
it.
that out.
That's it. It's the recharge and defining what that looks like, right? And there should be no judgment in that zone either, right? I'm a non-basement closeted gamer, and I let everyone know simply because like whatever if it's golf or it's
Yeah.
gaming or it's reading books or working out, like what as long as it's not hurting someone else,
Right.
who cares?
Right. Go do it. Go do it.
Yeah, because I think when you don't have that time or you don't have that figured out or you don't know what that lever is, that's when you just keep stacking. And that
Mhm.
stacking can be super, super dangerous.
I believe that's when people get themselves in really bad trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know when your mark is when you need to take a break? Like mine's about 60 days. If I go over 60 days without like a long weekend or going on vacation or just getting away to reset, I start getting in a bad version of myself.
Yeah. I haven't honestly. I'll just be honest. I haven't figured that out. But I do the small things that I do recharge me. So 6 days a week I work out, and usually twice a day. Like I
That's
get up in the
incredible.
morning and hit it hard on the cardio, do lots of core, and then I come home and hit the weights and do some more core. That's like 45 minutes, and then I feel great. So I do that every day. I will share something that recently I learned that it was helpful to me, and it seems counterintuitive to me. Um, so I worked I was working 7 days a week pretty much. Oh, you're always in your brain, you're always thinking about stuff, you're always doing all this stuff, and I loved it every second of it. It wasn't tiring me out. There was no problem.
Yeah.
But I start at church. My pastor said he recently decided that he wasn't going to work 1 day a week, like a Sabbath.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to work 1 day a week. And he said, it has been transformational. And it has been something that had been going around in my head recently before that. And my daughter had actually mentioned it to me too, that she had been trying it a little bit. And I was like, I don't even think I can do that. I don't think it's possible. I'm going to try it though. I'm going to see if I can do this. So the next week I decided I was going to take Sunday and not work, Brandon. And I did not think I could make it through the day, but I woke up and worked out, went to church, did all the things. And then I came home and I didn't work at all the rest of the day. And when those thoughts would start coming, I would try my hardest to put them out and read something else, think about something, do something else. And it recharged me.
Wow.
And I will say this, I worked harder in the 6 days that I worked, and I got more done than I did when I worked 7, because I knew all along that, hey, wait a minute, I don't have to like hold a little bit back because I know I'm going to be off the whole day on Sunday. And it was like going on a vacation every week. It has been really interesting. Every once in a while, I can't do it, and it doesn't always work every week. But when I do it, I am noticing, and I've been probably doing that for a year and a half, maybe something like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well,
So
one, it's incredible
try.
you've worked 7 days for so long. I can't even imagine doing that.
Well, at my work, I wasn't always going to the office, but
No,
I
I
was
understand.
working.
I understand it, but it's constant pressure all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you finally gave yourself a day to turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it took me this long. See, that's how, I don't know.
No, that is crazy.
Yeah. I'm Pennsylvania Dutch, right? We're just bullheads.
No, that's really good. And I think it's even the healthiest part of that, I think, is you allowed yourself to do that. And so it's almost like you're giving yourself like this permission to power down and completely like almost use that brain power that you would have been using for work into completely different arenas. Have you seen a bump in other things in your life outside with when you use that energy?
Yeah. I mean, I have probably more interest now. Like I went on a really nice trip with my daughter. That was really
Awesome.
great. And I was very interested in it. And we travel well. So we came through Turkey. We went to Greece. I went to London. It was amazing. So much fun. And we had a great time together. So I think, yeah, some different interests and allowing myself to do some different things. It has spiked other things.
That's no better way to end this. I kept you 6 minutes longer. So Scott, where can everybody go to see your wonderful cultured company? And if they need any of your services, where are you at? Are you a LinkedIn person? Are you heavy in LinkedIn or website, or where do you want everybody to go?
Yeah, no, I'm on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
Scott Walters Services. You can find me there. Our website is walterservicesinc.com. So either of those are great places to find me. Yeah, and I love for people to, I always say if somebody links with me on LinkedIn, a lot of times I'll say, hey, let's go eat lunch. And it's fun to walk in a restaurant and not know who you're meeting,
It is. It's I'm a breakfast guy, so I really push people to get up at like the crack of dawn to come meet me for. But yeah, I'm with you because you never know what you're going to walk into, and people's stories are that's why I love doing this, because people's stories are so fascinating to me.
Yeah. Thank you. This was great to talk to you. It was great to really have a conversation with you, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thank you for coming on because not everybody says yes. And actually, your name was given to me. Who gave me your name? I'm trying to think who gave me. Somebody said you got to talk to this guy because the story's incredible. I'll have to look it up
Oh,
on
yeah.
my. If they're listening, I'm so sorry, but yeah, incredible story. When I was reading through your backstory, I was like, oh man, I love family. I love family founder stuff. I love family businesses, and especially when we're talking about industries that people are like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I get it, but you are so enthusiastic about it. It's like, how could you not want to get all of your services from you? It's incredible. So thank you
Wow.
again so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great night, too.
Thanks.
See you.